My name is Hannah, and this is my year of less stuff. Hey y'all, I'm really excited about today's video because I'm going to be showing you all of the pieces of makeup that I have owned since before I started my YouTube channel almost 2.5 years ago at the beginning of 2018. And I must say, when I first thought of this idea, which was this morning, I was bumbling around, it occurred to me, and then I started collecting the makeup just to see how much of it there was, and I realized it was a totally feasible video and would be really, really interesting. I was really proud of myself. I was like, this is such a cool idea. And then as I sat down to do it, I started to suspect that I might have seen my friend Lauren, her YouTube channel is Lauren May Beauty. I think I might have seen her do something like this. So if she does indeed have a video showcasing her oldest makeup, I will find it and link it down below. I might have been on some level subconsciously inspired to do this video by having seen that one at some point. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. I am Hannah. I'm a passionate lover of beautiful things, but I'm in recovery from a very troubled period of my life during which I seriously overspent on beautiful things. So I try to make my channel a place where we can celebrate and investigate beautiful things and their meaning and their value in our lives, but without normalizing overspending. So if that sounds good to you, then please subscribe. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. Part of why it was so interesting to me to see what I ended up collecting when I was grabbing only the makeup that I've owned since before YouTube is that this makeup was all purchased during that period in my life when I was a rabid overspender, because my first year on YouTube was my no-buy year. And before that year, I had this problem that I couldn't solve, which was that I was buying makeup to self-soothe. I was way overspending on it. I just could not get my head screwed on straight about value for money and about what I could afford. Beautiful things are important to me, but at that time I was allowing that importance to obscure something else that's really important, which is financial health and balance, and also finding a level of spiritual health, doing the work to find that spiritual health that allows you to survive and feel good and be happy without buying makeup all the time. I just wasn't doing that work. Instead, I was just buying makeup all the time. So this little box of makeup for me is quite a mixed bag of feelings, because all of these are pieces of makeup that I love enough, that I cherish enough, that they've made it through all of the declutters over the course of my entire YouTube channel. And that means that I feel positively towards them. I really like them. But at the same time, almost all of them were purchased during that period, and in that way they're kind of tainted. So I don't know if I'll refer back to that as we're going through, but I just wanted to preface with that, and maybe you guys can fill in the blanks a little bit, especially if you've been following me since my no-buy year. Let's start with the item of makeup that actually inspired this video in me, as far as I can tell. It's the one that kind of kicked off the idea this morning, because I was using it this morning and I haven't used it in a long time, and I was thinking about how old it is when I was using it, and then I was like, holy bananas, I've had this since before my no-buy year, since before I started my channel. And then I started wondering what else I had in my collection that I've had since before I started my channel. So it's the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer in the color Chantilly, the lightest shade in NARS's range, only just light enough to be a blemish concealer for me. And that is why I've had it for so long. A blemish concealer like this, as opposed to a brightening concealer, like one that's supposed to blend out and be very skin-like, this to me is very different than that. It's one that can be kind of built up on a spot, and then the edges can be blended out, and so it conceals that spot. A blemish concealer like this used to be an absolute staple in my collection because I used to deal with pretty persistent acne. For my whole young adult and adult life, really overlapping, I think, with the beginning of my YouTube channel, I was almost never without some kind of blemish on my face. And sometimes it was bad, sometimes it was just a light scattering, sometimes it was kind of just one at a time. But it's really only over the past couple of years, like a year or two, that my skin has fully cleared up and that I've experienced going weeks or sometimes months at a time without blemishes. I think it must be because I'm kind of settling into my mid-30s. I'm 35 right now, and it was when I turned 32 or 33 that my hormones must have just changed. I mean, I think that happens to a lot of people in their 30s, and for the first time, I'm not really dealing with adult acne. I purchased this product back when adult acne was my constant companion, and I used it almost as frequently as I use my other concealers because I always had something to conceal, whether it was a fresh blemish or a healing blemish or a scar from a recent blemish. At this point, there are many days when I don't need to spot conceal. It's kind of wild. I actually haven't really thought about it until I sort of sat down to think about and talk about this product. But the reason I was using it today is because I do have a blemish that popped up on the side of my face, and I went to conceal it and I reached for this product, and then I was like, whoa, I've had this for a long time and I haven't used it in a long time. OMG. And that was how the whole thing started. That is just to say that that's why I haven't used it completely up, because my need for it has been steadily declining over the last couple of years. And I feel loath to repurchase it or replace it when there's still product left in here because I'm not using it as frequently, so it feels like it would be kind of a waste, but at the same time, it's really pretty old, and it doesn't smell bad or anything. It still performs perfectly, so maybe I'll start using it as an under eye concealer and just like try to finish it off, because that's a little bit of a dicey situation. So then I started going through all of the rest of my makeup, and it was in the category of lip products that I found the most products that I've owned since before my know about year, which correlates with something that I learned about myself recently when I did that experiment where I put the makeup that I didn't think I would immediately purchase again. If I lost my makeup, I put it away in a box, and then I was surprised that I missed all of my lip products so much, as opposed to being happy with a more edited collection. I just realized that I'm not as much of a lip product minimalist as I always thought I was, so it makes sense that I would have retained more lip products than anything else over the longest period of time. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lip products in my collection that I've had since before I started my YouTube channel. This might be the one that the most people thought of right away if you've been following me and you were kind of trying to guess. It's Tom Ford Wild Ginger. This was a birthday gift from my parents in 2017, so that was in February, almost a full year before I started my YouTube channel. And people often are scandalized that I still have a Tom Ford lipstick after all this time, because this lip formula, which is just the Tom Ford lip color, has gotten a reputation for going off quickly, like within a year or two of being new. And so I often get comments when I talk about this on my channel about how it's probably already gone bad. But it hasn't. It smells beautiful. It still performs. It doesn't have that crayon-y smell that lipsticks have when they go bad, and it also hasn't changed in its texture or anything. It's one of my all-time favorite lipsticks. It's a rich, satiny, orangey red, not too opaque, but also not translucent enough to feel like a balm or something like that. This is another very old lipstick. It's even older than Wild Ginger. I bought it for myself, possibly in 2016, I think maybe mid 2016. So this is much older than my YouTube channel. It's NARS Scap, and it's a really, really bright, milky pink, an absolute gem of a jewel of a lipstick. I missed this one so badly when I did that experiment, when I put my lipsticks away. And then when I got it back out, I didn't wear it. I love having it, and I love having it as an option. I love its personality, and this is one that I think I would buy again if I use it up or if it went bad. I just consider it to be kind of like a staple tool on the more editorial, draggy, dramatic side of the spectrum of my aesthetic. This NARS packaging, though, the original lipsticks, this isn't the Audacious formula, it's like the original, and it gets so gross over time. It has that beautiful, weird texture, that addictive kind of grippy matte black texture, but it gets very gummy and yucky over time. So this one really looks like it has taken a beating. This is the NARS Audacious lipstick formula. This is the NARS Audacious lipstick in Catherine. It's a beautiful, like milky coral, milky nudie coral, and I always think of it as being brighter than it is. This is another one that I really wish I wore more often. I'm gonna put all of these right on top of my vanity and try to use them more often after this. Kind of like a little impromptu shop my stash, especially NARS Catherine. For some reason, when I bought it, I really loved it, wore it all the time. Then we kind of parted ways emotionally, and we took a break from each other. But now looking at it, I feel like this is the kind of thing I've been really into lately, like a nude that has character, kind of. I could totally see myself wearing this. Actually, I'm gonna wear it in the next video that I film after this, so keep an eye out. By the way, I obviously had all of this stuff way before PR was even a factor in my life. I didn't get PR until the beginning of 2019. Like, I didn't even get any PR for I said no to all of it in the first year of my YouTube channel during my no-buy year. But this one was a gift. So this I didn't buy for myself, but all of the rest of these, I bought them for myself. Again, I bought them during that period in my life when I was buying a lot of makeup. And it is interesting to think that that period of my life, which was the cause of so much debt and so much abundance of makeup, that the stuff that I acquired during that time in terms of makeup has been reduced down to only 2.5 years later. That's bananas. That is pretty wild to think about, because I spent so much and I bought so much, and all that I've retained is just right here before me. It's 23 pieces, just 23 pieces of all of that stuff that I bought. So much stuff that I had to do a whole no-buy year to get over it. And I only have 23 pieces left. 11 of them are brushes too. I'm gonna quickly at the end go through all of the brushes that I own that I bought myself before my no-buy year. Still, wild. It just really puts in perspective. It helps me want to check myself before I buy anything else, because it's just like, how long is it going to bring you joy? How long is it really going to last in your life? And is it worth it? Is it worth all that spending? And is it worth that debt? Definitely not. Anyway, these are the last 3 makeup products. 2 are NARS Velvet Matte Lip products, and they are beloved to me. I love these colors. One is Pussy Control. It's like a purple, grayish purple, super weird for me, and I always feel really fierce when I wear it. And then the other is Dragon Girl, which is a really, oh no, this isn't Dragon Girl. This is Famous Red. I've actually never owned Dragon Girl, but I bought it as a gift for a friend once, and I always think of it when I think of this product. Famous Red, it's a really bright, cool leaning red that doesn't look pink at all. It's a really kind of a magical tone balance that they have going on with this color. A really special, bright, almost fluorescent red. Like, think of a fluorescent red that doesn't lean pink and doesn't lean orange. It's a true red, but it's fluorescent. To me, that is what Famous Red is. And then lastly, this is another one that kind of got me thinking about this idea, like makeup that I've owned since before my YouTube channel. This is a Givenchy lip pencil. It's in number 9, which at the time when I purchased this was called Lip Brown, but I think that they have changed the names, and I'm hoping that they have not changed the numbers that correlate with the colors, because I would like to buy this again when I use this up, which is, it's impending because it's become very tiny. This is my perfect kind of dry nude lip pencil, a little bit of a brownie nude. It gives some color to my lips. It's like my lips, but 2 shades darker and still very natural looking. I really love this. It's absolutely my favorite lip pencil of all time. So after the lip products, I started going into the rest of my makeup to see what was there that I'd owned since before I started my YouTube channel, and there really wasn't much. There was really, I was like digging around, and I was like, no, not this, not this. There really wasn't much. This is a fun one though, interesting. I have this Super Shock cheek in Spoon. It's a Super Shock highlighter, and the majority of it is gone. I have significant pan on this, as you can see. If I remember correctly, I went into my no-buy year, into the start of my YouTube channel, with 3 Super Shock highlighters. I had Spoon, I had Flexitarian, and I also had Milk Money. This has made it through all of the declutters, and this stayed when those didn't stay, because it's very sheer, it has a little bit of glitter in it, and the base is my skin color. Flexitarian had a very silver base, and Milk Money had a very gold, like champagne gold base. This has a base that I would describe as my nude. So it's got a little bit of pink and beige mixed into it, but again, it's semi-sheer, and again, it has more of that micro glitter rather than being like a blazing metallic stripe on the cheek. So I really love this product. I love Super Shock Spoon, and it has slipped to the back of my drawer recently. So I'll be excited to kind of dig back into this. Maybe I could try to completely pan it. The only other cheek product that I have retained since before the start of my YouTube channel is the Glossier Cloud Paint in Dusk. And this is definitely on its last legs. on its way to being panned. I could see myself just using Glossier Dusk and Colourpop Spoon together for like 2 weeks, and that would probably be the death of both of them. Maybe I will give it a try. Maybe I'll buckle down and give it a try after this. I love Dusk because it's got more brown in it than most of the most nude or most natural or most brown blushes in most ranges of blushes, especially cream blushes. So if you look at almost any cream blush range, almost any blush range really, but I think especially of cream blushes because that's what this is, there's always one that's like, they're like, it's our nude, you know? But rarely does one of those nude blushes have as much brown in it, as much earthiness as Glossier Dusk has. I love, love, love it for that reason. To me, it's like the perfect blush color, honestly. And I also really like the formula. I think my favorite thing about it is that it can be used on the eyes and it sets enough and sort of stain. It doesn't stain in that you can't get it off with soap and water, but it does set into the skin and dry down enough that it can be used on the eyes without creasing. Also, a little goes a very long way of this, which is another reason why it's lasted so long. It's not that it's been neglected. Like I feel like things like Spoon and NARS Catherine, I used them for a really long time, really aggressively, and then I kind of tapered off my use. That's actually not true of the Cloud Paint and Dusk. I feel like I've been using it consistently for probably about 3 years, like since they launched, and it just doesn't ever seem to end. This is interesting. I actually have an eyeliner that I've had since before my no buy year, and it's this Anastasia Beverly Hills Metallic Luster Liner in liquid gold. It is something that I bought, I think when I was first getting into watching YouTube. I might even have seen Jaclyn Hill use this or something like it. I became aware that ABH was selling these eyeliners that were really, really bright and metallic in the line that they made, and also really rich and creamy, and I just wanted to get one and experiment with it. It's such a bright white gold that it kind of works as an alternative for a cream colored or a white waterline liner. I got it, I think, because I was going to a masquerade ball and I wanted to paint like curly cues on my face with it or something like that. I really got it as an artistic tool. It works so well. It's so creamy and beautiful that I haven't been able to bring myself to declutter it. That's why it's lasted through so many declutters, but I don't use it very often because it's such an unusual and kind of out there party time product, and that's why there's still so much of it left. I almost forgot to look in my glitters, but when I did, I realized that I've owned this Urban Decay Heavy Metal glitter eyeliner since before I started my YouTube channel. I purchased Midnight Cowboy, I think is the gold one, or Midnight Rodeo. I never remember which of the Urban Decay products are like Rodeo or Cowboy or Cowgirl, and which are Midnight and which are whatever. But it's the gold one of this. It's kind of like the one that everybody has. I purchased that. I loved it so much that I went back and purchased another one, of course, because that was what I always did. If I liked something, I couldn't just enjoy it. I had to like buy another one. It was one of the things that I learned during my no-buy year. It doesn't always serve me well. In this case, it didn't serve me well either. I continued to like the gold one better, and I used a lot of it, and then eventually it started to separate and get weird, and I had to declutter it. But this one, that hasn't happened to yet. Distortion is it's like the rainbow iridescent one, and I do really, really love it. It's not that I never use it. I do use it a lot, and I understand why it has made it through my declutters because it's a great formula. It's a great glitter liner, and I like the subtle sparkliness of this one. I've also owned my glitter glue since before my YouTube channel. This is the e.l.f. glitter glue. Bought it back in the day. Still hasn't stopped working, hasn't given out on me, and I haven't used up the tube because I don't use glitter glue that often. I'm not really against fallout. I'm not really against glitter all over the face. And so it's a rare day when I feel like I need to stick something down on my lids. I'd say, you know, if I was going to an event or if I was trying to stick something onto my face that wasn't already adhesive, I would use it. But I rarely use glitter glue with just regular eyeshadow. I'll zoom through these really quickly because there are 11 of them. But that really interested me to find that 11 of my 40 odd brushes are brushes that I bought myself, because almost all of my brushes are Rephr brushes. I've been very lucky to be on the receiving end of Rephr PR because they make amazing brushes. So when I went through my brushes and I found that a quarter of them essentially are ones that not only did I buy them myself, but I've owned them for like about 3 years, like 2.5 years at least. It really surprised me. And it also kind of made me proud of myself, I guess. I was like, good. It's good that I'm like hanging on to these tools, because brushes, if anything, are, a makeup related category that we think of it as like a lasting investment, a long-term investment. Some of these are from a Wet n Wild set, I guess just 2 of them. So that, that Wet n Wild, the Wet n Wild like professional set. This is the ABH highlighting brush, the A23. I purchased this because of Jaclyn Hill, probably back in the day when I first started watching YouTube and I first started to understand what highlighting is and why everyone loves it so much. This was the brush she recommended at some point in one of her videos, and I'm so glad that I purchased it. I still reach for this brush all the time. It is probably one of my absolute favorite brushes for cheek work. I tend to reach into powder blushes with this as well these days, although then I feel like I have to wash it before I highlight with it again. But I'm always like, ooh, should I spoil it with blush or should I keep it for highlight? It's the kind of brush I wouldn't mind having like 3 or 4 of, because it's one of my faves. This is a Wayne Goss brush that seems to be like one that would have the same idea behind it. It's a blush brush. Why did I buy this? Why? When I was like going in debt, putting stuff on my credit card, I didn't understand makeup. I didn't understand brushes. It was this thing where I was like, well, people are always saying that like your life will change if you have like a really expensive brush. And I didn't know what I wanted. I was just flying blind, being like, maybe if I get a Wayne Goss brush, like I'll understand blush better or something like this. And it was probably like $60 or something. These brushes are so expensive. It's not that it's a bad brush. It's a gorgeous brush. It's just, I wish I could go back in time and tell myself not to spend that money on this. I also don't use it that often. I reach for my Wet n Wild brushes, my Anastasia highlighting brushes, and all of my Refer cheek brushes before I reach for this. It's something about the softness of the bristles, but their density and the shape. I think the thing I use this for the most often is if I ever need to powder my under eye, this is what I reach for. Little e.l.f. brush, little Colourpop brush. These are sort of dense domed brushes that I really loved for eyeshadow back in the day. I still like them enough to keep them, although I mostly use my Refer brushes. This is the brush that came with the electric palette. It's such a good brush. Both sides of it, fantastic. And the bigger side, the kind of flat rounded one, that's exactly what the Refer, I guess it's the O2, I think. That's exactly how it's shaped, and I have a bunch of those and I use them all the time. I love that shape for a brush. Little Morphe brush that I use for concealer, for my pot concealer. The ABH eyeshadow brush with the spoolie on the end that I still have. I got this when I got dip brow way back in the day, and that's what I used this for, the little angle to paint on the dip brow. This is an e.l.f. concealer brush that I use for eyeshadow. It's on its last legs. And this is a Surratt Beauty paintbrush shaped eyeshadow brush that is the same as the Wayne Goss brush. These are the 2 luxury brushes that I've ever purchased back in the day, and for the same reason. I was like, I don't know, I'll just add a brush into my Sephora card that probably already had like $100, $200 worth of stuff, and I was like, I'll just add this like $65 brush because it's cool and I want to play with it. Like I think back to the Hannah who bought this, and her mind, like she was avoiding thinking about financial health ever because she just wanted to fantasize that it was okay to do something like buy this brush. I tried to declutter this at some point because I don't like using it. It's really difficult. The little paintbrush tip flies all over the place. And then right before I was going to declutter it, I quickly did a smoky eye look with it one night, and it went on like magic. It was weird. I was like, maybe there is something about this brush that I haven't quite understood. I decided to keep it because I felt like I hadn't plumbed its depths yet. But I never managed to remember to use it when I'm putting on my eyeshadow, so I don't know how long it'll stay in my collection. And that's it. That is all of my oldest makeup and my oldest brushes and my oldest glitter glue. And I can't say I don't love these things. Of course I do, except maybe for that Surratt brush. That's why I've kept them, because they're great products. But it is pretty amazing to actually think about the destiny of all of that abundance and all of that spending. And it makes me want to do 2 things. One, it makes me want to buy less makeup. Although I actually don't buy that much makeup these days. I have a bigger collection, a much bigger collection than I would otherwise, because well over 50% of it was PR. It's not stuff that I bought, it's actually stuff that I've kept. But even in the light of the fact that I have severely curtailed my actual spending habits with relation to makeup, this is like it's a good reminder that that is where I should be, and it really makes me want to keep along that path, and maybe even try to buy less. Like, there are a couple of things that I've been wanting, and doing this exercise has made me want to like check those instincts and maybe check those desires. And the other thing it makes me want to do is to use up this makeup. If I'm not trying to use up my oldest makeup, then what am I trying to use up, right? I really feel like maybe I should try to pan this stuff, try to get it at least to the point where it's on its last legs. Maybe I will just keep it in this box until it's done. Not the brushes, I'll put them back with my other brushes, but the makeup, I'm gonna keep it in this box and treat it like a special little unit of makeup that I've had for probably a bit too long at this point, and prioritize it. And if you want to do the same, let me know. How much makeup do you have that you've owned for over 2 years? Makeup that you've had since before I started my YouTube channel. Let me know. Is it all of your makeup? Is it just a bit? Do you think that you've like let go of more makeup than you've retained over these past couple years? Most of our circumstances are very different because I have a YouTube channel, and that again has like changed the landscape of my makeup collection. But I'll be curious to know what you think and what your experiences have been nonetheless. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you are remembering to take extra good care of yourself right now so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.